Senator Graham, after being so close to this president for 4 years, do you think that you and other Republicans had more of a responsibility to speak out, both privately and publicly, when he said things that were untrue, when he ginned up his base? Do you think that that would have made a difference yesterday?
I think the Trump presidency has been poorly covered by people in your business. I think that from the time he took office, there's been an effort to cover his presidency in a way that I think is not helpful to the country. I have spoken up. There has been an effort to believe everything that Trump did was wrong before it's proven or not. All I can say is that I have shared my thoughts with the president. I've spoken out when I thought I should. But the one thing that I want you to know, there are plenty of Republicans believe that the Trump presidency was never legitimate in the eyes of the Democratic Party, never accepted by the people in your business, and it's been a constant drumbeat. And I think that's taken a toll on all of us. So could I have done better? Yes. The question, could you have done better? Could those of you who cover the White House done better? You need to ask yourself that.
Senator Graham, do you mind if I just follow up on that really quickly? You didn't acknowledge Joe Biden as president of this United States for a month and a half. Didn't that contribute to the notion among Trump's supporters that this was stolen
I think
from
that
them?
is exactly the problem. Did anybody doubt that Vice President Gore, did you ask any Democrat, why don't you acknowledge that Vice President Gore lost? You waited till the results were in of the litigation.
But this was a very different situation.
No, it's not. No, it's a president going to court, challenging results. From the time the race was called, I was hounded. Why don't you say Biden won? You wanted me to declare Biden the winner before President Trump had the right to go to court and exercise the same rights other presidents have had, and I chose not to do that. I said last night, Joe Biden is the president. He won. The Constitution worked.
Senator Graham, you just said that Vice President Pence was asked to do things that were illegal and
Yes.
unconstitutional.
Yes.
He was asked to do those things by the president publicly. So why shouldn't the 25th Amendment be used if the president asked the vice president to do things that were illegal and unconstitutional?
Yeah, I think what the president was asking of the vice president was not constitutionally allowed. He had people who said that he could do it. The fault lies, I think, with some of the legal advice around him. You've had people in his legal team make claims that are just beyond the pale. The president's frustrated. He thought he was cheated. Nobody's ever going to convince him that he wasn't. But this idea of asking the vice president to use his powers to send back electors that were certified doesn't exist in the Constitution.
He's the president. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't the buck stop somewhere else?
That's your answer on the 25th Amendment. You said it would not be appropriate to invoke that right now. Do you trust the president not to incite the kind of violence that he promoted yesterday in the next 2 weeks?
I'm hoping he won't. I'm hoping that he will allow Mark Meadows to continue with the transition, that he will start talking more about what he's done as president, focus on the threats we have coming from Iran, finish out the next 14 days in a way that will allow us to get a good start for Vice President Biden, that it does him no good, in my view now, to continue to attack the legitimacy of the election, because this election was legitimate and it has now been decided constitutionally. So my hope is that we can move forward in the next 14 days, but this will depend on what the president does. I am hopeful that the worst is behind us and we can transfer power on January 20th.
What gives you that hope? Have you spoken to him?
I talked with some people this morning. That seems to be a belief that we're moving in the right direction, and I'm just trying to reinforce that. The people around him, I think, have the right attitude. The people around him, I think, are giving him good advice. It's up to the president to take it. And again, you asked me about my relationship with the president. I regret it not one bit. I think we've had a hell of a ride. We've done some great things for the country. I hate it ends this way.
Senator, do you believe that the events of yesterday, his disqualify the president from seeking the office again in the future?
I'm not worried about the next election. I'm worried about getting through the next 14 days. We'll talk about 2022 and 2024. Let's get Vice President Biden sworn in January the 20th, and I'll make an observation politically. If you're a Republican, been a tough couple of weeks. We lost Georgia. 2 good candidates fell short. I'm confident that, from what I hear, the Democrats are going to overreach. If we can regroup, rebuild ourselves, get away from the fiery rhetoric and the conspiracy theories, that we'll have a chance in 2022 to take back the Senate and take back the House, but it's going to require us to go back to the blocking and tackling of conservative politics.
Senator, can you respond to the Democrats? They're not only talking about the 25th Amendment, both Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi have used the word, talked about impeachment, pursuing impeachment. Can you just respond to what response would be from Republicans if they did that?
I don't remember either one of them speaking up a whole lot during other crises. I mean, I like them both, but when they were burning Portland down in Seattle, they never said a word. When they were attacking Rand Paul, they never said a word. The guy that sort of stood out to me was Joe Biden. I thought Joe Biden did a really good job yesterday of talking about how bad this is and we need to get it behind us. And I'm telling you, as a Republican, I don't support an effort to invoke the 25th Amendment now. If something else happens, all options would be on the table. But I hear from Schumer and Pelosi just political talk.
Senator, what kind of role do you think that President Trump should take in the next 13 days? Should he be more public? He's been banned from suspended from some social media platforms. And what kind of role would you like to see Vice President Pence play?
Well, I'd like to see President Trump help unify the country. I don't know if he's going to come to the inauguration. It's up to him. I wish he would. I wish he would come and acknowledge that the transfer of powers has occurred, but that'll be up to President Trump. He shouldn't come unless he feels like it's the right thing to do for the country. Things like that would go a long way. I think he should talk about what he's done. I think he should focus on some policy achievements and basically let the Biden administration know that I have secured the border. Here's how I've secured it. If you change these policies, we're going to go back to chaos. I think he should talk about how we've gotten all these peace agreements between the Arabs and the Israelis. That's by being tough on Iran. I think he should explain to the American people the successes of his policies, and that not only will be helpful to Vice President Biden, soon to be President Biden, but he will have a responsibility if he changes those policies. If I were the president, I would highlight what I've been able to do at the border and explain to the Biden administration this worked. How did we get these peace agreements between these Arab nations and Israel? How can you do more?